All right, we are going to be using the next 3 pages in our composition notebook today, and they're all 3 going to have the same title. They are actually going to be the next 3 pages in your sequencing packet that you were given. Up at the top, you're going to write sequencing, practice. On the next page, sequencing, practice. And the next page, so the 3rd page, same title. Sure, not skipping a page here. Okay, sequencing practice, so the 3 pages. So I'm going to flip to the first page, I just labeled that. And we are going to cut out and glue all the way around the outside the first page in our packet. So it says, there was always one thing on Gavin's mind. That is going to be what we're cutting out and gluing on the first page. These 3 pages that we're going to work with today all look very similar, so I want to make sure we have them in the right order here. So the first one talks about Gavin. That's going to go on the first page, and you have your 3 boxes down below. We're going to glue this all the way around, or all the way on the back. And glue the whole thing down. Okay, next page is very similar looking. It says many important inventions up at the top. Same thing, we're going to cut this all the way around the outside and glue the whole thing down onto our second page we labeled sequencing practice. So I'm going to cut this one out just like I did this first one. And then I'll show you what it looks like. I never showed you the bottom of this page. So this is what I'm cutting out right here. Okay, I'm just cutting right underneath these boxes. This one is going to be glued onto the second page we labeled sequencing practice. And last but not least, you have one more that says we took a class trip. We took a class trip to New York City. That is going on the 3rd page. So once I get this cut out and glued in, I will go back and kind of tell you the order again of which passage goes on which page. So again, we're just cutting all the way around the outside and gluing the whole thing down. Then just like that. Okay, so the one on the first page, get my area here, is the one that starts off, there was always one thing on Gavin's mind. The one on the second page says many important inventions. And then the last one that we just did on the 3rd page talks about a class trip to New York City. Okay, now let's turn to the first one that we did. So what we're going to do is we're going to read through this, and we are going to put the events in order down below of when they happened. So we're given the first one, and we're given the second one. Okay, we're going to be making some notes up here, so please grab a pen, pencil, something to write with, and I will read it to you. So it says, there was always one thing on Gavin's mind after school, soccer. He couldn't wait to get off the bus each day and get outside to play soccer in his yard. The first thing he did when he got off the bus was run inside the house to wash his hands. He knew his mother would make him do it before he could have a snack. Then he grabbed a quick snack. Usually he ate a piece of fruit or a granola bar. He didn't care what it was as long as it was something that he could eat quickly. Next, he ran upstairs to change his clothes. Then he ran back outside and grabbed his soccer ball. He'd start dribbling before taking his first shot at the goal. He played outside until his mother would call him in to do his homework or eat dinner. Then, the next afternoon, he'd do it all over again. Okay, so down at the bottom here, we're given 4 boxes. So we're going to put 4 events in here in the order that they happened. The first one is given to us and it says he grabbed a snack after school. So what I'm actually going to do is find where this event is in the text and actually underline it in the text, just so I know where it's happening in the story. So let's see where it talks about snack. Oh, and then he grabbed a snack. Okay, so that's right there. So go ahead and underline that. Let's put a little number 1 by that because that's the one that's first listed in our sequence of events. Okay, now let's find the last one. Let's do the same thing. The last one says he started dribbling before taking his first shot. So let's go back to the story and let's find where that is in the story here. He started dribbling before taking his first shot. So that's number 4. So now that we have those 2 listed, we know that we have to fill in these middle 2 boxes. But it's probably going to be in between these 2 in the story. Okay? Notice I see a clue word here, then, and I see a clue word here before. So maybe let's try to find some clue words in between these 2 events so we can figure out what 2 events he did in between. Okay? So, move my book up a little here. Let's read in between those 2 events. Then he grabbed a quick snack. Usually, he ate a piece of fruit or a granola bar. Well, I know that sentence is talking about the snack, so I'm not going to put that as my second event because that's describing the first event still. He didn't care what it was as long as it was something he could eat quickly. That's still talking about that, so I know it's not that sentence. Next, he ran upstairs to change his clothes. I see a clue word, next. So that's right down here. He ran upstairs to change his clothes. Okay, that is going to go in that box here. He ran upstairs to change his clothes. I'm going to mark that in the text, but I'm going to do that in a different color just so you can see it. Okay? All right, then the next sentence says then. Wait a second, that's another clue word right here, then. So chances are that's going to be our next sequence, and it's the only sentence in between these 2. Then he ran back outside and grabbed his soccer ball. Okay, then let's go back here. So our third event is he ran back outside and grabbed his soccer ball. Okay, I'm going to highlight that or underline that in the same color here just to show the difference. Oops, and label it a number 3. Okay, we have those sequences in order. We found our clue words, which helped us out a ton. But what we were also doing was going back to the passage. We were trying to put them in a logical order. Does it make sense? Do these events happen in a meaningful or a logical order? Yes, they do, okay? And we're also looking back at the text to see where they happen. So we used all of our tips for finding the sequence of events. Let's turn to the next page. Actually, I will pause this right here, or if you want to pause this right now, I'll wait just 1 second so you can finish copying down notes. Otherwise, we will move on to the next one. The next one we're going to do together. This is about invention, so I'm going to read it to you. And it says, many important inventions were made during the Industrial Revolution. Thomas Newcomen invented the steam engine in 1712. His idea for using steam to make machines move was essential to the Industrial Revolution. In 1794, Eli Whitney created a machine that could separate cotton seeds from cotton fiber. His invention, the cotton gin, made cleaning cotton much faster. The telegraph was invented by Samuel Morse in 1844. The telegraph made it possible to send messages quickly over a wire. In 1866, Alfred Nobel created dynamite. It was used to create paths to build railroad tracks and roads. In October of 1908, Henry Ford created a cheaper automobile that could be made on an assembly line. It was called the Model T. Okay, so before I even look at the bottom boxes, I see a lot of different inventions, and I also see a lot of dates listed. So I'm going to probably assume that these dates are going to help me find the sequence of events. So look at, I see a bunch of different dates here. Oops. Okay, so let's look down below. And in this one, we're actually given these two middle ones. We're given 1794 and 1866. So let's go through. Let's go back to the text and let's underline those parts. So in 1794, Eli Whitney created a machine that could separate cotton seeds from cotton fiber. And the last one that's listed for us or given to us, the third event, is 1866. Let's find what was made. Alfred Noble created dynamite. So in 1866, Alfred created dynamite. Okay, now we have to find the first event and the last event. We are going to probably have to look before this part here and then after this part here. So it's kind of nice that we underline them just so we can get a visual of where we need to look in the text. Okay, so 1794, I know that that's my second event. So I got to find the date that's right before it. It looks like that's the only date that's listed, 1712. Well, what happened in 1712? Thomas Newcomen invented the steam engine. So let's go down here and write in 1712, Thomas Newcomen invented the steam engine. In 1712, Thomas Newcomen invented the steam engine. So that's our first event. Okay, then it leads into 1794, and actually I am going to underline this in the text up here. Okay, then let's find our last event. So our last event is after 1866. Well, it looks like there's only one more date listed after that, so I know it's probably going to be about Henry Ford. So in October of 1908, Henry Ford created a cheaper automobile that could be made on an assembly line. It was called the Model T. Now, I'm probably not going to write that whole thing, but what I'm going to do is just going to write in 1908, Henry Ford created, and I'm going to kind of combine these sentences and ideas here, created the Model T on an assembly line. So we actually kind of created both things, not just the car, not just the assembly line, but both. Okay, so I have these four events listed because of their dates. The dates really helped me figure out the order of these events. Now you have a third page, and guess what? This is going to be your homework for tonight. So you're going to read through. You are going to underline, and it looks like they only give you the first one here. So you're going to choose four events that happened in order after we went to the Rockefeller Center, because they're talking about a trip to New York City. Make sure that you're using your clue words if you need, or if you see any of those, maybe circle them or highlight them in the text. If you are having trouble figuring out what three events go in here, look back to your sequencing notes page at your tips for finding sequence down here. What you're going to do is take a picture of this and upload this into the Google form that is attached to this assignment. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, good luck.